Blyton, near Gainsborough in Lincolnshire, that's the venue for the second round of the Ultimate Streetbike series. The all-new venue with a super grippy track and near Mediterranean conditions must be the ingredients for some very quick times. Keith Taylor, the ultra-quick Suzuki campaigner, was showing the same form as he had at York, straight into the nines with his GS 750. Taylor number 2 was also here. Ken on his GSX 1260 Turbo Suzuki, powering away to a low 10-second pass. By the way, there were no terminal speeds recorded at Blyton. A shame, as I think we would have seen some 150 miles per hour passes. Lined up and ready to do battle, Chris Richards and Carl Hindle. On this occasion, Chris recorded a 10.23 and Carl on his EFE a 10.33. Drag racing at its very best. The next pair to run, the dynamic duo of John Boy Messenger and 1100E mounted Steve Burns, stormed to 9-second passes. Untouchable in the 4-stroke twins class was Odgie on his hardtail lowrider Triumph, deafening a portion of the crowd with each of his 11-second passes. Coming closest to Odgie was Jim Clayton on his yellow Ducati 750 SS, the only Duke I've seen with an extended swinging arm. Bob Cornforth on his Triton Special was out to improve his York winning time of 13.86 and did with this 13.51 second run at Blyton. However new a model the ZX-10 Kawasaki may be, this one still found its way onto the strip. Now you've seen the belly pan of a Kawasaki, we might as well see the underneath of an FZR 1000 Yamaha. But when it comes to wheelies, Mark Holroyd on the CBX Honda takes some beating. Here we go. No problems of front tyre wear on this one, eh? On yet another screaming 6, Alan Sharp, by keeping his front wheel on the deck, managed a run of 11.89 seconds. In the 2-stroke open class, Wild Bill Cowfoot's kettle was really on the boil with an 11.13 second run. But as usual, old rival John Kuhn wasn't far behind, with an 11.25 second run on his fully fair GT 750 Suzuki. At York, the 2-stroke twin of Lum Goodall recorded a run of 11.35. But here at Blyton, Harry Barlow on his RD400 Yamaha posted a run of 11.18 seconds. Are we to see a stroker twin in the tens? Bill Hunter's run of bad luck was to continue here with a wrecked gearbox on his Spondu. And similar problems also for Carl Hindle on his EFE. Some riders were having better luck. Gary Kenley on his GSXR 1100 was in the nines, as was Brian Emery on his 1100E. And hard-charging Ron Russell ran his best ever at Blyton. We asked Ron to tell us about the run.
Right. Today at Blyton, I've run my fastest time ever. I squeezed in a 9.88 and it was backed up by a 9.99. The improvement in the performance, I think, has mainly come from the good work by Steve at V&M, but I've also had a bit of extra from Trev's Nitrous.
One of the most looked at bikes at the meeting was Andy Bacon's RD250 Yamaha, a quite unique looking machine, and from his 10 runs up the Blyton Strip, consistently ran mid-12 seconds each time. Craig Ashton, running just outside the nines, did set one record on the day by running some 14 times up the strip. Pip Hyam on Tony Middlehurst's Project Black Jet ran a best of 10.04. The mighty VMAX Yamaha of Keith Houghton was sounding very healthy, but sadly the times were down on his York time of 11.74. A new name at the top, Martin Rawson on his GSXR 1100, was charging hard. With the Suzuki domination extending even further at Blyton, now the top 21 places were occupied by either a GSX or a GSXR. The 16-bike elimination at Blyton was fast and furious, and after a couple of the fancy runners were knocked out, we were left with John Boy Messenger against Steve Burns and Ron Russell against Craig Ashton. Steve's burnout carried on to become the donut of the series, much to the crowd's approval. But away from the lights, John Boy got the drop, and then there was no catching him. In the other semi, Craig Ashton eliminated Ron Russell, who appeared to splutter at three-quarter distance. So, a Messenger versus Ashton final. From the line, Craig whole shots John Boy, but John starts clawing back at the end. Close. In fact, so close, the flag judges at the finish line decided on a draw. By mutual consent, the race was rerun, and John made no mistake the second time. So once again, gorgeous weather has shone upon the Ultimate Street Bike Series. The results speak for themselves, with 6 riders running in the 9s. Winner for a second time was John Messenger, second was Steve Burns, third was Gary Kenley, and fourth, Ron Russell on his nitrous-injected Suzuki.
Every weekend throughout the country, hundreds of ACU-approved events are taking place. Competition enjoyed by novices and professionals of all ages. Clubs are running events over the dirt, round the circuits, or up the strip. You too can participate by joining an ACU-affiliated club. For further information, contact the Auto Cycle Union on Rugby 540 519.
Although the straight road race in Cork is not an ultimate street bike round as such, there was a strong contingent of British street and competition bike runners who had sailed in on the Swansea to Cork ferry to add a somewhat international flavour to the proceedings. Cork is run by the aptly named Munster Motorcycle Club under a 4-class system, with smaller bikes in Class A, up to 750s in Class B, unlimited street stockers in Class C, and the rest, including competition bikes, in Class D. For a while it was single lane racing, until our very own Tony Hutt managed to sort the lights out, and then 2-lane competition was resumed. Mel Nolan now takes over at trackside, or should I say roadside.
On the line is 371, Big Mescal from Limerick, riding a very quick Suzuki Katana from FC Spares. Big Mescal, the man to go to and see about motorcycle spares of all descriptions, spares, parts, second-hand parts, a big range of machines. That's Big Mescal on the very, very quick Suzuki Katana. 377 in the Riverside Lane. On the pit lane, it's number 350. Well, it's the man from Limerick ahead on the Riverside Lane as he crosses the finishing line. So, there we have number 377. It's Tony Murphy. Letty away Smith Madden, a very good takeoff indeed. This should be a quick time. Alan Wilson, the big V4 Honda 1000cc. And he is crossing the finishing line in a time of 11:12.03 seconds. There goes Tom Collin on the 750cc Yamaha, the latest Genesis Yamaha 750cc. He's away on the Genesis Yamaha number 347, Jerry Conan. And over the standing start, quarter mile, Jerry has just broken the lights at 11.4. In the pit lane we have number 376. Who's Paul Kiley from Sligo, running a Honda 1100cc. A very good start indeed in the past. She has 1100 Suzuki. Poking out about 125 brake horsepower.
Barry Eastman's CBX funny bike was laid up in England with a knackered transmission. Meantime, Barry was making a manful job of hanging on to the new Phil Bland nitrous Suzuki funny bike, which was obviously not at home on the cambered Corrigrehan straight. Another top funny bike competitor, Martin Peck, on the all-new Dymo-sponsored funny, ran some shakedown passes which looked full of promise. Look out for this one in the future. Running strong all weekend was Owen Lewis on his nitrous-injected GSX 1100E. The Jersey man, who makes the long journey to all the ultimate street bike rounds, was rewarded with his first ever 9-second run at Cork. Fellow Jersey man Sid Norman on his CBR 1000 was not so lucky, going out in the quarterfinals of Class C, beaten by eventual finalist Pat Lynch on a local GSX R 1100. Although Pat lost in the final to last year's winner, road race expert Fran Morrison on a Kawasaki ZX-10. Stevie Burns, as he's called in Cork, won his final with some razor-sharp reflexes off the line and a time of 11.05. Not bad for an RG 500 Gamma. John Goodman on the ex-Tony Huck Pro Stock Harris Kawasaki pulled a corker to sink Graham Dance and take Class D honours in a time of 9.68. My God, this Goodman chap can ride bikes as well as take pictures. Some frantic activity in the last hour had ensured that the class elimination programme was completed, and there was even a new record established for the track. Alan Ward posted a scorching 9.39 second run to better Bill Hunter's 9.40 set last year. So the final outcome: Class A winner Dave McCready, Class B winner Steve Burns, Class C Fran Morrison, and Class D John Goodman.